Welcome. Thank you for being here with us. We're very excited to have so many of you here in person and to others of you online. My guess is that we're all here with a similar purpose, and that is to find ways to develop and deliver software that works perfectly. As end users, we expect this, whether we're buying something online or scheduling travel, making a bank transfer, dealing with healthcare, but other uses as well. We work with utilities to manage the electrical grid to keep the lights on, theaters to enable the purchase of tickets, so many other use cases, grocery stores for loyalty programs, and on and on and on. Even business systems internally, ERP systems, CRM systems, they have to work perfectly. And such is the mission, the objective, the goal of Dynatrace. As end users, as I said, we all expect that software to work perfectly. As practitioners in our roles, we are equipped and tasked with making sure that the software that we manage, that we develop, and that we deliver is delivered to perfection. And really, this is what inspires us at Dynatrace in our goal to enable you to do this more effectively. Now, in our fiscal year 23, which ended in March, it was really about a year of innovation. We delivered Grail, App Engine, Automation Engine, notebooks, many other capabilities that perhaps many of you have in the labs and are in the process of deploying. But our fiscal year 24, we've assigned to be focused on value realization. This notion that we want to make sure that every one of you is capturing maximum value from the Dynatrace platform. Matthias is here, our Chief Customer Officer, and he is dedicated with 1,200 people in his organization, along with our partners, to make sure that your deployments are achieving the objectives you seek. This is really what this journey is all about, and where we're going to spend our time today. Now, the economic environment, for sure, continues to be challenging. Interest rates are at 20-year highs. Unemployment rates, meanwhile, are at historic lows in many geographies around the globe. Recession fears continue to exist, and we all are forced to do more with less. This whole notion that resources are constrained, and yet workloads are exploding. More applications, more infrastructure, more to manage, and I can't do it. We can't do it the way that we've always done it. A network operations center with an army of people staring at a sea of glass without the tools, without the instrumentation to be most effective. And that's what we have to change. That's how we have to transform our businesses to enable that effectiveness to occur. Indeed, the number of workloads exploding results in data explosion. Data explosion results in substantially increased complexity. And complexity makes it harder for all of us to do our jobs in delivering that user experience. That is the perfect result that we all come to expect. So growing complexity is our constant reality, and yet it is something that we must overcome and route to the goal that we described at the beginning. It's an amazing stat. 2.5 quintillion bytes of data each day are created. Incredible, absolutely incredible. More and more complexity, more data to manage. How do we manage this environment? And by the way, generative AI is not going to make it any easier. You may have just heard about generative AI recently. It just happens to be in the press. I was reading a story from the CTO of Accenture recently, Paul Doherty, and he talked about 4 megatrends over the last several decades that have drastically transformed not just the technology environment, but the environment of the world itself. The first actually was the Lisa computer. Lisa computer, you may all remember from many decades ago, really brought us the first graphical user interface. Quite interesting. Brought computing to the masses. Second was the internet, which brought content to the world, to billions of people. Third was indeed smartphones, which slow rolled initially, but then eventually became all but ubiquitous to enable virtually everybody to have access to so much content. And the fourth, he indicated, was in fact generative AI, equal to those other three in terms of the potential impact on changing life of how people do compute and how they operate. This is going to create more workloads and indeed more complexity itself. So what I want to talk to you today about are these three things: cloud modernization, the observability and application security space, and then how do we go about this journey together. Now, let's start with cloud modernization. Clearly delivers undeniable benefits, whether it is supply chain, accelerated application delivery, whatever it might be, cost improvement, dynamic delivery of infrastructure to enable us to increase or decrease the amount of compute resources that we need to access. Undeniable benefits. And yet it also brings with it some complexity. Now, we look at the hyperscaler growth. This is AWS, Azure, GCP alone. If you look at these stats, they're astonishing. I just can't believe them. You see, last quarter, ended in June, they jointly delivered almost $50 billion in revenue. That's a $200 billion run rate that has grown by 2x, doubled over 2 years. Incredible. We are all using and deploying and employing more and more cloud resources every day. Unbelievable. And yet, I would posit that it also has resulted in us going so fast that it has become, in some cases, more difficult to manage those software workloads. More difficult than it used to be. Why? Well, microservices, Kubernetes, containerization, other capabilities have enabled us to deliver much more faster. That's great. But it's also made the challenge of managing all of that more complicated. It's resulted in fragmented tools, challenging customer experiences in many cases, harder to keep cloud-native workloads up and running than the olden days, where we had a mainframe software deployment that was completely in our control with software that was running in a single environment. So it's given us speed, it's given us velocity, but it's also challenged us to figure out how we manage this modern environment, this cloud-native modern environment, effectively to deliver the results we want of the user experiences that we seek. We also have limited analytics to be able to assess precisely where issues may be occurring. Our approach at Dynatrace, we think of as radically different. It is this notion that you must find better ways to deliver solutions that create and add real value in very short order to enable us all to manage those workloads better. And we see these three as our principal differentiators at Dynatrace. And I'm going to talk to you about each one of these in a little bit more detail. But in summary, a unified platform that's end-to-end, hypermodal AI, which we'll talk more about, and automation. So let's delve into each of these in a little bit more detail. First, we deliver precise answers, not just dashboards, not just red, yellow, green, because the signal-to-noise ratio doesn't work in a modern cloud environment. Way too much noise, way too little signal. You have to know precisely what is going on in your environment to be able to troubleshoot it rapidly, but not just get to root cause analysis. Rather, what you want to do is predict how to resolve issues before they occur. We talked at the outset about this notion of software that works perfectly. this sort of common objective we all have. But how can it work perfectly if it breaks? And then you troubleshoot it and fix it fast. If you do have an incident, of course, we want to enable you to fix it rapidly. We'd rather, though, avoid the problem in the first place. And this is, in fact, what we want. Auto remediation, integration directly into your own software environments to enable you to deal with issues before they occur and become visible. We do this through a comprehensive, integrated, fully unified platform. Now, Grail, which we announced, in fact, one of the first times we talked about Grail was on this very stage a year ago. Perhaps many of you were here. We have now released Grail. Grail is a massively parallel processing data lakehouse. What that means is it is an enormous data store that maintains all data types, logs, traces, metrics, etc., behavioral analytics, real user data in context. That is a really important point. This notion that by keeping all this data in context, you actually can do a much better job of parsing it, analyzing it, and using it to deliver answers. And it is Grail that essentially brings all of this together as a causational data lakehouse. Now, as to the platform as a whole, we have several different core technologies. PurePath to deal with distributed tracing. We have one agent to make sure that we can deploy rapidly. Smartscape to evaluate and structure and review your entire infrastructure. We've added to that Grail here as well. And of course, we have Davis, our AI engine. We've added to those App Engine, Automation Engine, to integrate Dynatrace into your development environment. All of these pieces comprise an underlying array of core technology of incredible power to enable us to then structure the modules that sit on top of that to manage observability for your applications, for your infrastructure, for security, for end users with digital experience, and so on. It is a very powerful platform that we have committed to maintaining in an integrated way. When we acquire companies, we don't bolt them on, resulting in dramatic manual tagging and manual integration of data. We maintain that data in context. We maintain the efficacy of that data to enable it to continue to serve the purpose of these modules that sit on top. And with that, I'd love to play a video, short video, of this platform.
This is Dynatrace, a revolutionary platform that delivers analytics and automation for unified observability and security. Our platform-based approach simplifies the modern cloud with the industry's broadest set of use cases. In solutions spanning observability, security, analytics, and automation, you can even create custom solutions to meet your unique business needs. It's all made possible by fully integrated platform technologies that work together to help you do amazing things with data. And an ever-expanding hub of integrations, extensions, and apps that connect across your ecosystem to solve any challenge. We make it easy to deliver precise answers that drive automation for almost any custom use case you can imagine through our innovative App Engine and Automation Engine. Those answers are enabled by Davis AI, the industry's first hypermodal artificial intelligence. Davis combines predictive AI models to forecast future problems, causal AI to determine and deliver precise and intelligent automations, and generative AI to create recommendations that solve specific tasks. And Smartscape brings context to the entire platform through always evolving topology and dependency mapping. This is made possible by Grail, our groundbreaking data lakehouse that processes, analyzes, and retains all your data in context and at massive scale. We contextualize all that data through ingest and capture on any environment, whether it's from open source data sets like OpenTelemetry, or with our one agent, which captures and pre-processes data